Hello everyone. In this video, let's discuss how to write a program to create multiple objects. Okay. So first let me create a class. New class, and I'm going to give the class name as student. Okay. Fine. So when we are taking a class as student, we have to define the properties and its behavior. That is nothing but variables and the methods. So I'm going to define the properties and its behaviors. So when we talk about properties, I'm going to take string name, so name of the student, and then age of the student, int age, and then department, which department he belongs to. So I'll give string department. So these are the three properties I'm going to get from the student. Behavior, so I'm going to display the student details. So I'll give the method name as void display details. So here I'm going to display the student details, so name, age, and department. So I'll print system.out.println. So here I'm going to give the name. So I'll give name colon space name. Fine. Then I'm going to print age, system.out.println age plus age. Then system.out.println department plus department. Okay, fine. Now let's create the object for the class student, and let me get the student details from the user. So first I'll create an object for the class student. So student s1 equal to new student. So I have created an object, and to get the input value from the user, we have to create an object for the scanner class. So let me create the object for the scanner class first. Scanner sc equal to new scanner system.in. Okay. Now I'm going to get the input value from the user, and I'm going to store. So system.out.println. So I'm going to give enter the student name. Enter the first student name. I'll give first student name. Okay. Now I'm going to get the input value from the user, and I'm going to assign it to the property name. So if I want to access that member, I can access only with the help of the object. So s1 dot name is equal to sc dot next line. Okay, I've got the input value from the user. Now I have to get the age. System dot out dot println enter the first student's age. Student's name, first student's name, second first student's age. So I'll give s1 dot age is equal to sc dot next int. So after this, I want to get the department from the user. So system dot out dot println enter the first student's department. Okay. Now we have to keep one thing in our mind, that if I want to get a string value after an integer value in the buffer, we have a new line. So that we have to remove. So for that, I have to give a new line. So sc dot next line, because after integer there will be a buffer new line in the buffer memory. For that, we have to give sc dot new line. This we have already discussed in the input and output. Please watch it. So now I am going to get the department value from the user. So sc dot next line. Okay. Fine. Let me comment this, and without this sc dot next line, if I run the code, what happens? We'll see that now. Okay. After getting the first student's detail, let me print so that we can get to know whether this works or not. So s1 dot display details. This is the method name. So let me save this, and let me save this as well. Let me run the code. Okay, there is an error here. Okay, I have not given a semicolon. Let me save the code once again, and Let me run the code. Student's name. So I'll give the student's name as Tamil. Age 27 I'll give. See, it is not getting the department value as input from the user because after an integer, a new line will be stored in the buffer. So for that only, I'll be giving sc.newline. Okay, now that new line, whatever is stored in the buffer memory, is taken care by this statement. Now I can get the department value from the user. Let me run the code now. Student name Tamil, age 27, department IT. See, I've got all the three input values. I've got the output as well for the first student. Let me create the second object. Student s2 equal to new student. So here I'm creating the second object. Okay. So for the second object, I have to get the input value from the user. So let me copy the same code and I'll paste it here. This object name I'll give it as s2. The rest everything still remains the same. I'll give a message saying that enter the first student details. System.out.println enter the first student's details. And then after this I'll give the second student. System.out.println enter the second student's details. Okay. So after getting that, I have to display both the students' details. s2.display details. So this is what called as creating multiple objects. Okay. Let me run the code now. I'll give the first student's name Tamil. Fine. Age. Student department. Second student. I'll give the name as Venki. Age 27. I'll give the student department as CSE. So both the students' details have been printed. Okay. So this is what called as creating multiple objects. Now, if I want to store entire students' details, for example, a class contains 60 students. I want to store all the 60 students' details. So here I have to create 60 objects. So instead, we can go with one more concept called as array of objects. So I can create the object as array. So instead of creating multiple objects, I can declare an array. I can have all the objects in the array. Let's discuss array of objects now. So when we talk about array of objects, whatever the properties and the behavior we have it in the class student, it still remains the same. Okay, we are not going to disturb this. In the main class alone, we will be changing few changes. Instead of creating multiple objects, I'll create the objects as an array. So first I'll create an object for the scanner class because we have to get the input value from the user. Scanner s equal to new scanner system.in. Fine. Now I'm going to give the size of an array. First I have to get the size of an array. So I'll give the size as n. Int n equal to sc.nextInt. After getting an integer value, if you are getting a string, we'll have new line in the buffer memory. So I'll give sc.nextLine. So to take care of that. Fine. Now I'm going to create an array. So class name is student. I'll give the array name as yes. We have to give the square bracket which is equal to new student of size n. Okay. Now I have created an object as an array. The size is n. Whatever the n value we are giving, that is the size of an array. Fine. Now I have to get the input value. So for that I'll take a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Fine. I'm going to get the first student's detail. So I'll create an object for that. So array name s of I, that is s of 0 is equal to new student. I'm creating an object. Okay. After creating an object, what I have to do? I have to get the student's detail, right? So I'll give a message saying the system.out.println enter the details of the student 1. So for that I'll give I plus 1 because index value starts from 0, I plus 1. After that I'll give a space or colon I'll give. So this message is to give a message saying that enter the details of the first student. Now I have to get input value from the user, so which is name, age and department. So system.out.println, enter the name. So I have to get the name value from the user, right? The member name, age, department, we have to access them. That can be accessed only with the help of object. Now the object is the array. So s of I dot name is equal to sc dot next line. So first I am going to get the name. After that I'll give a message age, system.out.println, enter the age. So first what I have to do, s of I dot age is equal to sc dot next int. I have got the integer value from the user. After this I have to give a new line, sc dot next line. After this I'll give a message saying that system.out.println, enter the department. Done. After this s of I dot department is equal to sc dot next line. That's all. Okay, so here let's take the size of an array as 3. Okay, it creates object to store 3 students details. So for loop starts with 0. 0 less than 3 as condition is true. So s of 0, the object s of 0 is first created. S of 0. So the details will be stored in s of 0 dot name, s of 0 dot age, s of 0 dot department. Then I'll go for the next iteration. I value becomes 1, s of 1. The next student's detail will be stored in s of 1. Say s of 1 dot name, s of 1 dot age, s of 1 dot department. Then I'll go to the next iteration. I value becomes 2. Then in s of 2 I'll store the value of the next student, that is third student. S of 2 dot name, s of 2 dot age, s of 2 dot department. Then I'll go for the next I value 3. 3 less than 3, condition becomes false, I'll come out of it. So I have got all the input value from the user and I have stored. Now I want to display the details of the student. For that I have to take a for loop because we have stored all the details in the array. So I'll take a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I have to call the method display details. So what is the method name I've been? Display details. So I have to call the method with the help of object. So s of I dot display details. So here it will store all the details that will be displayed. So here we have given the n value as 3. So here I can store the details for 3 students. The loop iteration starts I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. S of 0 equal new student. So memory will be created for s of 0 now. So when we talk about s of 0, to store the details s of 0. So first this is for name, next is for age, next is for department. So memory will be created for name, age, department. Okay, so I'll get the input value from the user. So let me save this code and let me run the code. So first I'm getting the students details. I have to give the size of the array 3. Enter the details of the student 1. Enter the name. So first I'm going to give the name as Tamil, age 27, department IT. So these 3 details will be stored here. Tamil, age 27, department IT. Now when I go to the next iteration, s of 1 less than 3, condition is true. S of 1, memory has to be allocated. So the same memory will be allocated to store the value of s of 1. Okay, now let me get the input value from the user. I'll give the name as Venki, age 27, department CSC. So these 3 details will be stored. S of 1 Venki, age 27, department CSC. Now when I go for the next iteration, I value becomes 2. 2 less than 3, as condition is true. S of 2, memory will be created for s of 2. Memory will be created for s of 2. Let's get the input value from the user. So I'll give the name as George and the age as 27, department as MEC. So I have got the details from the third student. So here the name is George, age 27, department is mech. So I have got all the inputs from the user and it is stored in the memory. Now if I want to display all the details, I have to call the method display details, because here it is a behavior, that is nothing but method. See, display details is printing name, age and department. So I'll call the method one by one. So for that I have to take a for loop. For I equals 0, I less than I plus plus. S of 0 dot display details. So in S of 0, okay, in S of 0, call display details. In the method display details, what do I have? I'm going to print name, age and department. So S of 0 dot name, S of 0 dot age, S of 0 dot department will be printed. So Tamil 27 IT will be printed. See, name is Tamil, age 27, department IT. When I go for the next iteration, I value becomes 1. So in the for loop, when I go for the next iteration, I value becomes 1. S of 1 dot display details. In S of 1, what do I have? Venki 27 CSE. Venki 27 CSE will be printed. Then go to next iteration, I value becomes 2. 2 less than 3, condition true. S of 2, when I call S of 2, what do we have? George 27 mech. George 27 mech. See, I've got. Instead of creating multiple objects, you can create array of objects. Okay, that's all.